I've definitely noticed, and you might have noticed too, there does seem to be a cultural shift back towards an appreciation of unique smiles and natural teeth. And this has led to a phenomenon in some people called veneer regret. So people who previously had veneers to enhance their smile or perfect their smile have now gone on to reflect and even sometimes regret the decision. My name's Emmy, I'm a dentist. I love to discuss in-depth topics surrounding the health and aesthetics of our teeth and mouth. Quite often, the phenomenon that I'm talking about is where people have had veneers that are technically well done. We're not talking about bad dentistry here, rather sort of the changes in trends that we're seeing. That's not to say that there's not bad dentistry out there. We've seen a huge increase in things like dental tourism and very aggressive treatment plans, but that's a topic for another day. Now, it's important to say that this is not a problem with veneers themselves. They can be an excellent transformative treatment that can literally change people's lives, improve their confidence, and in many instances, they absolutely are the right decision to achieve the goals that the patient wants. I read an amazing article by The Stylist where a journalist who had veneers previously several years ago that she was really happy with has now gone on to regret the decision. Again, it's not because veneers are done badly. I think it falls into two broad categories. One is that loss of natural or unique features in the teeth. It's a really well-known phenomenon, not just in cosmetic dentistry, but in all aesthetics and beauty. The highest form of beauty is actually a high level of perfection and symmetry with some authenticity markers. So in the teeth, these authenticity markers are those subtle imperfections that make your smile look natural and that make your smile look human. These authenticity markers are also unique and memorable features. A great example, one of the most coveted smiles is Princess Kate. She has a very beautiful, very symmetrical smile, but if you look closely, you'll see that everything is not perfectly uniform, and this is by design. Her orthodontist intentionally incorporated some micro rotations of the teeth to really enhance that natural look and to really give an authentic and natural feel to her smile, and this only adds to the beauty. Subtle but harmonious imperfections can actually increase beauty, and I think a great example of this is the model Lauren Hutton with her iconic diastema between her front teeth. It's a memorable and unique feature that actually adds to her beauty. If we were to close the diastema in her smile, but it would make her smile less memorable, and I think it takes a good eye to be able to see what small imperfections actually enhance your character and charm, and the aim is always to try and keep that rather than erase that. That's not to say that veneers can't be highly natural. There are skilled dentists and skilled technicians that can create veneers that are undetectable from natural teeth. They can incorporate all of those natural features, translucency, those very small harmonious imperfections that give that beautiful natural appearance, and select what small imperfections actually add to your beauty, uniqueness and charm, and incorporate them into your smile design. Second reason I think people go on to have regrets later on is perhaps not a full understanding of the lifelong commitment that comes with having veneers. A good example is to think about having a haircut. Even if you've had one of the worst haircuts, definitely been there, you know that it will eventually grow back. Now, the problem is with veneers, it does involve some preparation of the teeth, and the teeth don't regenerate. So even if it's whether it's minimal preparation or heavy preparation, shift to veneers is not reversible. You cannot go back to your natural teeth once you've had veneers. That's quite a big decision to make. That's not to say that you can't change your veneers and that you can't change the appearance, but you are committing yourself to some form of restoration on your teeth. There is no going back to your natural teeth. So with veneers, it is a lifelong commitment. You're committing to maintenance and you're committing to replacement at some point as well. Everything in dentistry has a finite lifespan. You are committing yourself to some form of replacement down the line, and there is a biological cost and a financial cost that you need to consider. So how are we going to avoid things like veneer regret? I do have a few tips. It's understanding the long-term commitment that comes with getting veneers. You need to make sure that the treatment you're opting for aligns with your level of comfort with the commitment. So, for example, in my case, I would say I have very low comfort when it comes to long-term commitment. So, as an example, I opted for less invasive, less commitment options when I made cosmetic enhancements to my own teeth. So, for example, I opted to have Invisalign initially. So Invisalign was an excellent choice to move my teeth into a more favourable position. The change is very gradual, so you don't have that sudden drastic change. I was very unhappy with the position of my teeth, so that is a decision that 7 years on, I've never regretted for a second. That has only improved my teeth. Now, you could say the commitment is high because I have to wear retainers every day to maintain my results. However, the biological cost was low. It didn't involve any preparation to my teeth. Something else I didn't like about my teeth was I had very narrow lateral incisors. So they're the teeth next to your front teeth. And it made my front teeth look way too prominent. Now, an option here could have been to have veneers or porcelain veneers or feldspathic veneers or whatever type. There's several different types of veneers. That would have been a good option for me. However, I had low comfort to commitment, so I opted to go for a composite veneer first. Now, a composite veneer doesn't last as long as a normal veneer. It is more prone to chipping and staining, but the key thing is that it is adjustable and it's minimally invasive because it doesn't involve any preparation of the tooth underneath. The reason I went for composite first is because composite is adjustable. If I'd have had it put it on and I didn't like the shape, I didn't like the length, I didn't like the shade, it can be changed and it can be adjusted. Now, 7 years on, I still have my composite veneers on the 2 teeth and I'm just coming up to the point where I'm thinking about replacing. Now, I would be a lot more comfortable replacing with a porcelain veneer this time. One, because I already have a good idea of the overall shape and shade that I am comfortable with. My composite almost acts as a blueprint so that I'm not then going for a drastic change. I already know what my expectations and my goals and outcomes are. And I think it's really good to have a clear example with that in your head. So that's something where composite, in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases can be a good first step to test your comfort levels and to see when it's adjustable and things can be changed to find the aesthetic that you're happy with. No, because it's daytime, my love. Okay, sweetheart, but I've got to finish some work. Right, Mummy can't remember where she was up to. What's that?
That's your sticker.
A sticker! Thank you so much. Something else I would ask everyone who is considering having cosmetic dental treatment is, are you trying to enhance what you already have, or are you trying to change or erase yourself? There is an issue of body dysmorphia. We see this with other cosmetic treatments, but we see it in dentistry as well. It's important to understand that changing or enhancing your teeth can be transformative. It can increase your confidence. It can be a great thing, but what it can't solve is deeper psychological issues. So if your problems with your teeth run deeper, or if you have unrealistic expectations, then disappointment and regret are a risk. As dentists, we're going to try and screen for this first and make sure that you have a full understanding of the commitment, but also what we can realistically achieve for you. Whenever people come and show us a picture of Margot Robbie, we can't give you someone else's teeth. We can enhance your own teeth. The other thing I would say is you never want to make this a spontaneous decision. It's something you certainly don't want to rush into. Selecting a dentist that aligns with the aesthetic that you like is arguably one of the most important things. Ideally, you want to see some examples of the work that they've done previously and get an idea for their style and if that suits you. You also then want to have a really in-depth discussion about what your ideal outcome looks like and whether that's achievable. It's so important to be intentional and make sure that you're fully informed before you're going into that decision to avoid any future feelings of regret. I think this is such an interesting topic and I'm interested to know your thoughts. Did any of this resonate with you? I'm going to be doing weekly essays, deep diving, interesting topics like this, all about the health and wellness of our mouth and how we can maintain a beautiful and healthy smile for life. So please feel free to subscribe if this is something that's interesting to you. Thanks for watching.